Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. That means, as you know, it's AEw Dynamite with Holiday Bash. As you know, we are getting closer now to the end of the Continental Classic. We have certain matches that has to be must-win matches or whatever has to take place. I'm so excited for that as well. We even have a number one contendership for the AEW Women's Title, and of course, plenty other things are taking place. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing the latest Oz Academy show that took place on the 10th of December in Osaka. We have four good matches. The main event features, of course, a 2 out of 3 falls match between the villain faction known as Ozaki Gun and fellow other wrestlers such as Hiroya Matsumoto, Sonaka, I forgot the other two names, but we'll get to those as well. And also, we have some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any developments going on in pro wrestling, such as wrestlers have been signed, wrestlers have been injured, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews from various wrestling promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world of pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos such as, topics like the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates in case if I'm unable to put it here on this episode, I can put it separately and other cool stuff as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us on this channel. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comment in the description down below. Now, let's begin with our very first review, and this is coming straight out of Japan with the Joshi promotion known as Oz Academy. Cannot remember when was the last time I actually reviewed this one, but I like to give you guys some variety of reviews that I want to give you. So this is one of the most recent Oz Academy shows that took place on December 10th of this year in Osaka, Japan, and this one's called Pray For Me at Osaka, which of course he hinted they were in Osaka. So there was four matches here that actually played out here. Now the first one we have, of course, Ram Kaicho taking on Ryo Mizunami. Now this is a good match where there's factors played out on this one. Now those who have seen Ryo Mizunami, you know she's a big powerhouse girl. You know she would knock your head out. But she's facing someone who's a bit more smaller, a bit more craftier, but of course she has ectoplasma. Now, Ram Kaicho, as you know, she can rely on her speed as possible or try to find ways to pick up the win. However, she was no match for Ryo Mizunami until she put her. I can't tell what kind of move she put up. It looked more like a driver to me, but it turned into a slam in some capacity. So I just don't know what it was, but it did put up a, a good win for her. So basically, Ram Kaicho lost just like that. 1, 2, 3. It is over. Next match, we have a very interesting tag team match. We have Coyote Yonayama and Momoka Hanazono, they take on Kohaku and Akino. Now, before the ring entrance happened, Coyote Yonayama and Momoka seem like they're not getting along great. Now, I'm a fan of Momoka, just to be make that one everybody clear. I always consider her as one of the as a terror in the ring, not because she knows how to win. She has unorthodox methods that normally would put her in a way to win. Like she has things. I the first time I seen her, I was amazed by her ways of wrestling. I mean, you can see Yonayama is very crafty too. But you're looking at two wrestlers here who their opponents who are in fact all about strength and powerness. I mean, Kohaku, she's originally from Pro Wrestling Wave. Akino, well, you've seen her more often Oz Academy, and of course a former openweight champion. So how do you play out? Well, you have to be outsmart. But however, there have been many misfires between both Momoka and Kairo Yonayama. I think they're having a hard time trying to click as a tag team. But however, Yonayama always finds a way to pick up the win when she applied a somewhat of a O'Connor roll onto who was on Kohaku and picked up the win. So you probably think, okay, not bad for a win, but in the future, can Coyote and Momoka coexist? I don't know. That's a good thing. But interesting enough, if you guys know this or not, Momoka normally takes bookings in her native city of Osaka. Don't ask me why, but I felt like she should try to expand herself more. Mostly, she doesn't take outside booking unless if she has to. Like, for example, the New Blood shows. That's one of those things that she could do. But other promotions they probably have to go through, and when they go to Osaka, she'll take those. Now, our next match, we have a three-way. We have the leader of Ozaki-gun and Mayumi Ozaki versus Yako versus Zubasa Kurigaki. So that's a very interesting match. However, of course, my Ozaki has her trusty dirty cop who always helps her out with whacking the opponents, attacking them wherever he goes. But sooner or later, I knew that this guy was gonna get his ass knocked out by Yako and um, Kuragaki. Basically, that was it. But however, it was Kuragaki who pinned Yako, giving them the win. I'm sure if Kuragaki would have pinned Ozaki, it would have the post match would have been her getting her ass whooped. That is something I know for a fact Ozaki would do because she cannot tolerate losses. Now our next match we have a 2 out of 3 falls match. Normally we see these type of matches take place in main events during the Ozaki-gun shows. We have the members of Ozaki-gun. When it comes, we have Kakeru, Sayuru Noi, and Mayu Yukihi. They take on Hiroyo Matsumoto, Sonoka Keto, and Itsuki Aoki. Now, of course, we're going to see a lot of dirty tricks coming from Ozaki-gun. They've been known to find ways to cheat their way through in matches. Now, this is how the 2 out of 3 falls went. First fall goes to Ozaki-gun thanks to Maya, who pinned Aoki. And then later, Aoki got a little bit of retribution to make up for that loss when she pinned, I don't know, when she did a diving body splash on her. And then finally, of course, the last fall goes once again to Ozaki-gun thanks to Sayuri No, and she pinned Kato when she applied the pottering, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. So basically, the night goes to Ozaki-gun, and that's how it always ends for them on most nights. So I thought it was a pretty good, fun show. I enjoyed it. But yes, so I think that's pretty much it. I think the next show with Ozaki-gun will take place on the 30th of December. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be able to see it, but if I do, you guys will be the first to know. And I think that's pretty much it for this one. So let's move on with AEW Dynamite Holiday Bash. Okay, AEW Dynamite with Holiday Bash. Now, as you know, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the Continental Classic. Now, certain how to say ramifications of the tournament is now coming to light. There has to be must-win matches and all this other stuff, but a few complications coming from the Gold League, and this is how it goes down. Our first match is part of that, the Continental Classic Gold League. We have Swerve Strickland taking on Rush. Now, here's the situation how this was laid out. Swerve Strickland, if he wins his match tonight, he's already automatically in the semifinals. But however, that's when we explain later on the match involving Jay White and John Moxley. But let's get started with Swerve and Rush. Now, you know Rush, he's the toughest SOB on the planet. You know he loves violence. Swerve Strickland's been in that type of scenario. So that kind of goes in. But however, Swerve Strickland's very crafty on what he does. He was able to apply the Swerve Stomp, giving himself the next 3 points, being with 12, and Rush ends his Kano Classic with 6. Now, those who've been aware of what happened, I did not mention this a week ago. Apparently, Kenny Omega is out indefinitely. Chris Jericho, in fact, had to address the audience that the Golden Jets will have to put everything on hold until Kenny gets back. I mean, it's sad and disappointing, but at the same time, Chris Jericho wants the fans to understand Kenny needs to be healthier. His health is more important than anything. So he did the whole thing with Kenny, goodbye and good night, that sort of thing. I thought it was very touching, for him to do that. So now we continue more with the Continental Classic. This one is a very interesting one. These two individuals already out of the tournament, but it was not finished yet. And they were the only ones that never got their 3 points or had any points to begin with from the start of this tournament. We're talking about Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal. Now, these two guys know each other very well, especially Jay Lethal with his relationship with uh, Jay Briscoe. Rest in peace. That this is one of those moments. Now, Mark Briscoe, I like what he said last week. He didn't treat this like, oh, it's like disappointment. The reason he didn't felt like he wasn't disappointed is because you got to remember, Mark Briscoe is a tag team specialist. He wasn't that often as a singles competitor, so he feels like he's still in the minor leagues and he's still getting his footing in. So it's a good analogy. But now he has to step up against someone that he knows too well, and we're talking about Jay Lethal. I thought this match was so important in some capacity because I felt like this kind of match could honor Jay Briscoe as well. But I was so surprised how this one ends. Once again, it was Mark Briscoe who pulled off a very fantastic win when he applied the Jay Driller. 1, 2, 3 is over, and of course, both Lethal and Briscoe shook hands, and it was the sign of respect, knowing that this was a good match, despite they did not get all the way in, but it was a pretty good one. Now, Samoa Joe and MJF decided to address the situation that's been going on with the Devil. As you know, the Devil has been causing nothing but problems since his arrival. So this time, we did see later on the henchman showed up out of the blue, but the Devil has other plans. It appears that he is now targeting the ROH World Tag Team titles. So basically, MJF may have no other choice but to rely on Samoa Joe again, but we'll see where that leads us to. Now, during an interview with Renee Paquette, we see Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. Now, Renee, of course, congratulated Orange Cassidy on his fantastic win against Brian Keith. Chris Statlander winning the street fight with Willow Nightingale. Of course, Trent Beretta, we don't know what he's going to do. As you know, Chuck Taylor's out of action for quite a while. As for Rocky, as you know, he had to address the fact that he lost the CML historic welterweight title. And he said that he came to AEW to get some gold. And out of nowhere, Orange Cassidy goes, okay, you get a title shot. So basically, he's giving him, and everybody, Chris, Renee, and Trent are like, yeah, man, congratulations. He was like dumbfounded, like, what? Like he did not expected it. I think he was like, okay, he was looking for gold, but he did not expect Orange Cassidy just right away jump into it. And I thought it was the classic expression from Rocky. You know, like, huh? What? I didn't ask like that, but he got what he wanted, and that's how it goes. Now, before our next match, we do see Timeless Tony Storm make her way to the commentator section because this one has a ratification for her, which is the AEW Women's World Title, and it's the number one contendership. We have Saraya versus Riho. Now, of course, Riho, as you know, is the first ever women's champion in AEW. Saraya has been previously a champion before until she lost the belt to won that belt and beat Tony Storm for that. So that kind of sets it in right there. However, of course, she has to pay attention to what's going on. Of course, we did see Ruby Soho watching over, so I don't know what's going on. But luckily, Riho was able to pick up the win with a running knee and pick up the win. Of course, Tony Storm got in her face. Then Mariah May decided to show up and help Tony Storm, but Tony Storm acts like, "Who are you?" So you know the old saying goes, never meet your heroes. But it looks more to me from what I'm seeing that Tony Storm may be ignoring Mariah May. I'm not sure, but we'll see where that leads us. Now, of course, we wanted answers to what happened a couple weeks ago in Full Gear, revolving Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. Well, Christian Cage, being a total dick, decided that the people in Oklahoma doesn't need to hear it because he's going to do it under his time. Of course, that's classic Christian right there. Moving on. Now, as you know, with the devil being on Rampage, MJF decided to do the one thing he thought. He decided to confront. He was walking away, and then he sees one of the devil's henchmen's mask in front of the Mogul embassy. So basically, MJF was trying to put two and two together. So he thinks, wait a minute. So he tells Sir Strickland, I know how much you hate Hangman. Don't you think it's ironic that he was taken out on that day? You had the Mogul Embassy do your dirty work. So basically, that was it. So later, of course, Mogul Embassy shows up, and then Samoa Joe showed up too. So basically, it looks like there was going to be a little bit of a scuffle, but however, that was stopped. However, Prince Nana had to tell Sir Strickland about Collision. So we'll see where that leads to. Now, before our main, well, never mind. I won't skip the match, but let's do that. Our next match, we had Roderick Strong versus Commander. I thought the match was pretty good. But one thing that was amazing about this match is how Roderick Strong applied a heartache so high that took out Commander. I thought that was pretty interesting. However, during the post-match comments, once again, Roderick Strong is trying to tell Samoa Joe, don't trust MJF. He is the devil. He's been the devil the entire time. So at this point, we don't know who the devil is. I mean, we have seen moments where MJF was not involved. So basically, that's proof enough, but there are those that still believe. But we still don't know who the devil is. Now, before our main event, as you know, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tony Khan comes out to address thank you to the fans, saying that they will be returning to Oklahoma uh, in February for two shows on two different cities, in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. However, since you know this is Oklahoma, it's also the country of one particular legendary ring commentator. We're talking about good old JR. So that's right. So everybody had to stand up and give him the standing ovation. Yes, Jim Ross was back to commentary for the main event, and this is the main event for the Continental Classic Gold League. However, this one has a very interesting ramification on this one. Now, here's how it goes down. As you know, Jon Moxley has 12 points. If he wins his match, he will meet next week with Swerve Strickland in the finals of the Gold League. However, if Jay White wins, then this match will go into a three-way. Now, I have to say, there are many commentators, I mean, Excalibur, Taz, and JR know this too well. you know you want this match to be one on one because three ways are unpredictable. You don't know how this is going to end. So this is, I have to say, there was a lot of physical demanding in this particular match. However, there was a moment where John Moxley was holding up his knee. He was unable to do the things. He was close taking out Jay White with the Death Rider, but he overturned it with the Blade Runner. So he picked up his 12 points, and this match ended in a three-way. However, here comes Swerve Strickland, try to get a close look at his opponents for next week, but Jay White tried to take out John Moxley in hopes that this match goes into a three-way. Now, keep in mind, Swerve Strickland, um, was it Swerve or Jay White? I don't remember. Wanted, I think it was Swerve. He actually had, of course, a win over Jay White, I believe. And now I think maybe Jay White will love nothing more to have a little payback for that. So we'll see what happens until then. Now we still continue with more with the Blue League. I believe this will happen either both on Rampage or Collision. So we'll see what that goes from here. I think that's pretty much it. About to sneeze. So let's. All right, there we go. So let's move on with our last thing, of course, is news updates. Okay, our news updates. So let's talk about some upcoming events from various promotions and other developments going on with it. So let's talk. As you know, we have the UK promotion known as Progress Wrestling. Recently, there was announced for their upcoming show in March in 2024, Diamond and Dust. They announced that Hijo del Vikingo will be, Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. will be making his debut. So this is really awesome. Now, keep in mind, I normally there's only two top promotions I believe, in my opinion, in UK. That is Progress and Ref Pro. But I have to say, this is going to be interesting to hear Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. be part of it. As you know, on MLW, we'll have some taping done before the Kings of the Coliseum in Philly. They announced that we have two talents from Tokyo Pro Wrestling making their debut as well. We have Moka Miyamoto and Nao Kakuta. So basically, they will be involved on the January 6th tapings part for Kings of Coliseum. TNA has announced for the Hard to Kill pay per view on the 13th of January. The Knockouts Ultimate X is back. So this is the second time it happens. As you know, having a Knockouts Ultimate X is something cool. They haven't announced who will be involved, but I'm sure we will find out soon enough. Kitsune Women's Wrestling has announced for another upcoming show in March on the 24th, I believe, and this time it goes back to it all started in LA. Um, it's called Kanpai. I think that's it's called. Hopefully, I pronounced it right. Uh, yeah. So Kitsune Women's Wrestling announced for their next show in March. That's going to be great. They haven't announced who's going to be involved, but I'm sure our very trusted champion Unagi will defend her belt on that day. So we'll see what happens. Now, House of Glory has announced for the Brace for Impact show on January 6th. First time ever these two guys will face off each other. Mike Santana versus the Walking Weapon. Yes, first time ever. As JR would say, it's going to be a slobber knocker. Now, finally, updates with Ohio promotion Wrestling Revolver. For the Mox vs. Gringo show on the 25th of January, two matches have been announced. The first one is for the Revolver World Tag Team titles will be defended in a four-way. The current champions, RED, consisted of RSP and Alex Colon, defend the belts against the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz versus uh, Second Gear Crew, Juan Commandos and Matthew Justice, and then finally the grizzled young veterans. So that's going to be a good match. But then, of course, we have title versus title. I like to call it winner takes all. We have the current Revolver World Champion Jake Chris defends his belt, and if he wins, he'll take the remix title currently in the hands of Alex Shelley. So that's going to be interesting as well. Now, as you know, I did announce that there's going to be a new show coming from Wrestling Revolver in February on the 17th. They announced, I did mention Leo Rush will be involved in that particular show. And this is their show in Prairie, Hope, in Texas, somewhere. I can't pronounce the location. But they announced for the match that Leo Rush is going to be involved, and that is against Chris Bay. So that's right. The Art of Finesse will take on the bad child, Leo Rush. Now, developments going around. Let's talk about that as we speak. Fightful Select has reported that very soon, by the time this video is out, um, as you know, there are certain wrestlers that were on a non-compete clause. Soon they will be free agents. That means wrestling promotions will be able to talk to them and do whatever. So that will be coming up soon. So, hold on, never mind. WWE are in fact are expected to talk to multiple free agents in 2024. Now, keep in mind we have Kazuchika Okada is one of them. So is MJF. Julia is one of them too. Well, Will Ospreay's out because he signed a contract with AEW. So that sort of. So there will be talent that will be free agents in 2024, but we don't know yet who will be on the radar. Um, Earl Hebner, if you guys remember him, um, the referee with WWE and then AEW and so on. He mentioned on an interview that he should be in the Hall of Fame. You know, somebody mentioned that mentioned. I mean, yeah, I mean Earl Hebner should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, but they should check his past issues and close his legendary career on a good note. And I have to say, I would like to see him be in the Hall of Fame. And he is a referee after all. I mean, didn't they um put another ref in the Hall of Fame? That's the thing I don't remember. But yes. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Um Scott Edwards actually posted this on his Twitter page about Breakout star in the Joshi world. Let me pull that up real quick. So yeah, so there's like a breakout often leads to some best years in pro wrestling. So last year we had Suzuki that actually won the award for breakout, and here are the nominees for this year as well. We have Ayame Sazamura from 2AW, Action Advance Pro Wrestling. Arisu Endo from Tokyo Pro Wrestling. Not bad. I mean, I have seen her grown up so much. Mei Sita from Stardom. Yes. Yuri from Gambari Pro. Hail F and yes. Mariah May. I'm hearing people are saying that Mariah May deserves it more. And then finally, as you know, the winners of the AAAW tag team titles, Magenta, Maria Enrico Kawahara. I have to say, I like certain wrestlers that I feel are breakouts. I mean, Magenta's one of them, so is Yuri. May Sita, well, I could say maybe so, but Arisu Endo, I've seen her grown up so much. But yes, so I would like to say that. Now, finally, a very interesting development that was reported. Now, as you know, Kazuchika Okada was announced that that his contract with New Japan is about to expire. Reports has come in that New Japan are allowing him, even though he's still under contract, to talk to other promotions. So that is very interesting. Now, those who don't understand, let me explain this. Many years ago, I remember WWE talked to Kyle O'Reilly while he was still under contract with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor did not like that, so they sued them for interfering on their contract. However, that's always been a thing. WWE kind of crossed the line. However, that's always been playing with the rules. However, this time Okada's given permission by New Japan to say, hey, go out, look for yourself a new promotion if you decide. Okada did mention he was thinking about going overseas. But this report says, let me pull this back. Says that WWE doesn't have Okada on the radar, but AEW would love to sign Okada. So I think many people say that Okada's better off not being with WWE because they'll just treat him as another Nakamura. And to be fair, I'm still pissed that they never made Nakamura as their top champion. That always will be the reason I don't watch WWE because they, well, one of the few reasons, but yeah, I think that's about it. So I think that's pretty much it. We'll see what Okada does in the future when he decides. I'm sure many fans will love to see him at AEW. Recently, he in fact will make an appearance in TNA. As you guys know, this he has TNA roots during his excursion time, and I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see what happens for Okada. But as of right now, I think it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. Um, this was just recently announced for Thursday. We have Impact Wrestling. They say they could do a best of Impact Wrestling. We'll just see. If they do that, I probably will skip it. I don't know about MLW. Ring of Honor, definitely. We do have, of course, more with New Japan coming up. The road to Tokyo Dome. I'm so excited because we're almost there to Wrestle Kingdom 18. I'm looking forward to that. Um, for those who don't know, I was supposed to do a podcast episode. I was unable to do that to some other circumstances that are outside of this channel that I had to do. But I will be doing that real soon. So stand by. If you guys don't have me on a podcast, you can find me on Spotify if you can. So it's DWZ podcast with J Rod. So you guys can find me right there. So I think that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys on the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye and have a nice day. Bang.